Welcome back to the No Fun Channel. I'm Felix, and I had a whole bunch of topics, and as usual, I forgot to record them. They were coming in my head as I was talking to people or doing something else, and I didn't think to go back and record it. Well, I thought, hey, I need to go make note of that, and I didn't. I would feel awkward if I stopped to make note of something while I'm talking to someone. They'd be like, "What are you doing?" Because it's like, "Oh, I'm doing a podcast." One thing I will make note of, my teeth. I just looking at my teeth. Can't tell if they're any whiter. Started using some whitening toothpaste just to see. But what I did make some notes. Unfortunately, I didn't pick like a single topic this time. But there were a few things I did make note of. Like a quick thing was like I heard about a fight breaking out in an amusement park. First thought it's in America, but no, it was in Japan. And I was just like, oh, it's in Japan. And I immediately went to comments, and pretty much everyone's on the same page as me. Like, oh, this is not in America. So we were shocked by that. But Japan, they can get violent over there too. They'll break out into fights. And whether you believe it or not, there are Japanese people who would take advantage of the fact that other Japanese people are too polite and just be as mean as possible. And they don't care. So Japan is like a place of extremes. Either they're overly nice to the point where it's 1,000% fake, or they just flip and take everyone out. It's like there's no in between. They're like, you gotta find a middle ground, find a way to let that stress out, or some way to vent. And I think that's why a lot of them do video games or watch anime or watch different stuff. But yeah, it's just they gotta find a way to vent. And I think that might be one reason that a lot of countries actually kind of envy America, that there is a lot you can do in America. If you don't like where you are, you can literally just go someplace else in America and live and start over. But yeah, when I saw that, it's like, that's gotta be in America, and it wasn't. It was like, that's awesome. Another thing I saw in the news was, well, not just recently, but probably all this year, businesses going out of business, and some were trying to make a comeback, but overall a lot of them are just going under, and it's getting worse as things go on with our current leader. And thinking I was just thinking about our current leader, and then man, stuff he does. I saw a thing on TikTok where it talks about, like, the obvious ones are the onion skits. I've seen a lot of people do those, where they talk about, let's put a headline out that says this. No one will believe that actually happened. Let's put a headline that says this. He actually said that. And what about this? That's actually going on now. And someone did a thing where, like, they put up 3 things that, which one of these did Donald Trump say? And most people were like, all of them probably. And it turns out he didn't say any of them. The point was to prove that this man is so outlandish that all this stupid stuff here you would think he said. Unfortunately, he said some wild stuff that it seemed like stuff he would say. Even I was like, he probably said all of it. And it was all made up stuff. But I could hear him saying it. You know what I mean? It's like, it was so out there even for him that you could still hear him saying it. That's how bad things are going. And, not to make light of what's going on in LA, it's like the governor from what I saw, the governor had things under control, and then he just went heavy-handed, and now things are way out of control. LAPD is just shooting people. It's like, I mean, I know they're rubber bullets, but still, they're literally aiming at the people and shooting. An Australian reporter was the first one I saw, but now I think maybe 4 or 5 reporters have been shot at. They put a CNN reporter in handcuffs, like claiming we're just moving you for your safety or something like that. Something stupid. And it's just so much stupid stuff going on. And now I don't know how true it is, but now supposedly proof has come forward that the voting machines were tampered with. And it's possible he didn't win. If that turns out to be true, and Congress doesn't do anything to remove him, right, there's proof that the United States is over. I was going to say this for more at the end, but yeah, we're a nation that's falling apart, and it's not pretty. I told my mom, hopefully we survive it, but the way things are going, I would not be surprised if other nations like moved in and said, hey, now's a good time to take over this country and call it a day. But yeah, it's just like, there was something else here that was part of that. Give me a sec. I didn't make note. There was something I was thinking about when I thought of that. But yeah, it's messed up what's going on. I mean, let's be honest. Like U.S. citizens getting held by ICE. You try not to talk about politics, but it goes on so much that, especially right now with all the stuff going on, you're just like, man, But what's really funny to me, not so much funny like belly laugh funny, what? In a way, belly laugh funny. It's the number of people who were racist to black people every chance they got, especially during the election, who are now asking black people to help. It's like, and the majority of the black people I've seen online at least are like, go F yourself. They're like, nah, we're not helping. You voted for this, you get this. And I'm right there with them. I mean, you voted for this. This is what you wanted. You got what you wanted. And the number of people who are freaking out over what's going on, and you discover they're Trump supporters, and they're freaking out. He's ruining everything. It's like, you voted for him. You were warned multiple times. And then there was the Chat GPT. This guy asked it, if you were God and you came back to Earth, what would you, or I forget the exact question, but basically, if you were coming to Earth, what race of people would you be? And it chose black people. It chose black people for a reason. And I can't think of any other race that has endured the way black people have. Other races are quick to say, well, we've had our trials too, blah, blah, blah. But there is not a single race on this planet that gets hunted, made fun of, stolen from more than black people anywhere in the world. Even though black people are not a monolith and we turn on each other as well, just like any other race. One thing that's collective is the amount of people who just hate on black people for any reason. If you come from any nation in Africa, they immediately start hating on you. If they find out you're African American, they hate on you. That's why it irks me when I see Africans hating on African Americans. Like, you're doing their job. Stop it. All you gotta do is stop. Stop with the hate. In UK, black people hating on American black people, it's like, you're jealous, actually. You're more jealous of what black America has versus what you have. Because everything they have over there is from us. It's like, just stop the hate. Is really what it comes down to. Now, I always thought if I had a superpower, like a mental superpower, I'd probably use it to figure out a way to implant a virus into everyone's head that would transmit to every other person that says, why, make them question their hate, make them start soul searching as to why they hate, and encourage them to fix themselves. I jokingly always say that this is why I lack focus. If I had focus, I'd probably rule the world. I was talking to my wife, trying to get away from politics. I was talking to my wife about ADHD because I was watching Abba and Preach, and Abba was making fun of, I think it was Destiny, about his ADHD and getting medicated and all that stuff. He went and got tested because someone told him, you need to read exactly what he's talking about. So he did, and then he went and got tested, and here he has it. I was thinking, maybe I should get tested. Go through all the process, get tested for it, and see. And wow, I just drifted off. I was thinking in my head, the dog started barking outside, I just started drifting off. But yeah, go and see, get tested, see what's what. Maybe I have it, maybe I don't. But from everything I've seen about ADHD, I'm pretty sure I probably have it. Because I saw stuff about chaotic focus where, I don't know the exact definition, but even Abba was talking about like, if you're working for someone else, you can do it. He avoided college because he knew he couldn't stay focused on it. I went to college twice, but it was for stuff I really wanted to learn. If I went to college for something I didn't want to learn, I would lose focus. Like I went at one point for networking. I thought I was into it, and as I got more into it, I realized I hate networking, and I got out of it. And that's how I went up my degree in animation. Because the first time I went to college, I did get a computer and computer information management, but it was only a 2-year degree, so I was able to get through that. But yeah, I want to do animation, but I can't get my mind to focus. I want to get back into drawing, but I can't get my mind to focus. Like I spent a year just drawing, trying to draw every day. Then a while ago, I tried to spend a month drawing every day, and I did. And then it just gone. My desire to draw, like it's hard to explain. It's like I want to draw, but I just can't get the energy to pick up the pen and paper. Like I have this drawing. I'll show you guys. Let's see if it's a rough drawing. I was gonna go back and fix it, and I have it. I can draw. I can really draw. I got some artwork. Maybe I'll post a link to my DeviantArt site. I haven't posted to the DeviantArt in a long time. And then as I was thinking about that, I did ZBrush as well. And I love working in ZBrush, but I've forgotten everything about ZBrush. I need to go back and relearn it. But yeah, I can't get focused. And I've always joked about if I ever got focused, I would rule the world. So maybe it's time I got focused. I can't do any worse than what's going on out there. But that also brings me to another subject of how people sabotage themselves when they're trying to do something. Like, I'm a huge self-sabotager. I will sabotage myself all the time. Like right now, I'm sabotaging myself by not working out. I haven't worked out in probably 3 weeks, a whole month. And it mainly stemmed from just little things happening. Every time I turn around, something happened. Like today, we went and got Popeyes. And then after I was going to eat, but I got so full. The nearest Popeye is probably about 15 minutes away. Yeah, I'd say 15, 20 minutes away. So we don't get it that often. So I went overboard with the food. I ordered too much, and I was just too full to go work out. So I self-sabotaged when I should have went and worked out first and then went and ate. But I was starving, and so I was like, I'm going to go eat. And I didn't make it to the gym. But I'm off tomorrow, so I'm going to get up, and I can go early and work out. I'll have the whole day where I can go work out. And Friday, we're going to the amusement park, and I'll see how I feel when I get back. And I could possibly work out Saturday, too. So, no, I got to take my daughter to a birthday party. No. Is it Saturday? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm trying to get back on working out, but yeah, self-sabotage is a monster. But at the same time, I see people doing stuff, and it's like, just like me, who sabotage themselves, and I'm trying to encourage them to, like, don't be like me, get up and go do it. Like my son tried out for soccer. He did not make it. It was one of those youth soccer's where everybody was going to make it, but he quit. And I was okay with him quitting because he's out of shape. He doesn't go outside. If I did it at his age, I would have probably made it. Simply because I went outside. I ran around. I played all day. I was always outside. I walked everywhere. So I probably could have made it and been on the soccer team. If I knew soccer existed back then, maybe I would have went out for something I could do. But yeah, I tried to tell him over and over and over. If you're serious about it, you need to start working out now. You need to work on your cardio. We have an elliptical. You need to start doing elliptical. You need to just get on there and start doing it 5 days a week and for 30 minutes to build up your stamina. He didn't want to do it. He like, well, I thought I could do it because I get up and I'm running all the time. It's like, this isn't the same. It's not the same. You're going to be constantly running, moving back and forth. And yeah, he didn't do it. He didn't listen to me. And even before we got there, I told him, take a hit of your inhaler. He has asthma. I'm like, take a hit off your inhaler before you got out there. And he's like, I don't need it. And yeah, I knew what I was talking about. Hopefully my son will trying to think, my daughter's probably around this age when she started listening to me about stuff. It's like, you got to start listening. It's like, I know you're learning, but daddy's not trying to stop you from doing things, but I am trying to be realistic with you. My wife kept trying to make excuses for him. Like, there's no excuse. It's like, he needs to own up to it. He and I talked about it. He's hurt, emotionally, but he understands. And I said, if soccer is something you really want to do, you're going to have to start working out. Some of the guys, he knew like one or two guys on the team. I was like, you could always reach out to him, be like, hey, could you guys help me train? And he could go train with them or play around with them, just run back and forth on the field. He could do that, but I tried to warn him. But what I was getting at with the self-sabotage, my son volunteers for a lot of stuff, and I'm okay with that. Like, he was going to try out for color guard. And I said, do you want to try out for color guard? He was going to go out for it because a friend of his was going out for it. He realized he didn't want to do it, so he backed out. And it's like, I don't want to discourage him, but I'm also trying to get him to be realistic. Like, you're in the student council, you're doing band, and you're doing honor band. So he's doing student council, band, and honor band. It's like, and then the student council stuff has stuff inside of it that he's doing. So it's like, you got all this stuff going on. I mean, right now it's summertime, and we try to explain to him, like, this past Saturday, before we went and bought him cleats, which we can't take back. They were expensive. I should make him wear them. We were going to go get his stuff. He didn't want to go because there was something online that I was like, son, you're going to run into this more and more if you play sports. And I said, well, you got a choice, either the stuff online or sports. He chose stuff online. Well, later, my softy wife, he goes to her, I changed my mind. I was like, I know what he's doing. Because she tried to get him to admit that now he wanted to go get the stuff because the stuff, technically we could have waited and got it. But the point was, I was trying to point out to him that this is going to happen. You're going to, because I even gave my wife an example how I did stuff like that when I was a kid, like avoid doing stuff because I would say, well, I don't want to do it no more. And then whatever I was doing was over. And I'm like, well, now I want to do it. So yeah, he was just doing what kids do. But, we got the stuff. We let him try out, and it wasn't for him. If he wants to do sports, though, I try to explain to him, sports is a commitment. That there are people who do band and sports, and he likes band. But I also explain to him that you may have to give up band if you really want to pursue sports. So, and he was disappointed. He was more disappointed because I was messing with him about, if we buy this stuff, you got to play no matter what. And I was just messing with him, and I told him, don't worry about that. I said, you tried, it wasn't for you, now you know. But I'm trying to teach my son not to do self-sabotage. And in a way he kind of did because he didn't listen. It's like he sabotaged himself. If he had started working out when I told him to, he would have done a lot better. He'd probably still be out there playing. I'm not going to lie, I'm glad he didn't join the team. But, because we already do a lot of traveling for that boy, just for like the student council he was doing. He traveled for that honor band. He had to travel band. Well, he hasn't really traveled for band, but we got to go do all his concerts for band. But yeah, and I try to explain to him also the coach will yell at you, and I don't think he was ready for the getting yelled at part. So, but either way, no, he's trying, and I encourage him to keep trying and not to just make good, but I want him to try realistically, meaning that he looks at the situation, understands that, I need to be able to do this, this, and this in order to do that. So let me start doing this, and then I'll try it. I don't want to just go and try and then realize, I don't have the strength, I don't have the stamina, I don't have any of this to do this. Where if he had done that in the first place, realized, examine what he's trying to do, and then learned it, and then went and tried it, he would have done a lot better. We tried to get him to watch soccer. He wouldn't do it. We tried to get him to watch soccer online. He wouldn't do it. He just thought he could go out there and do it. I love that boy. But yeah, self-sabotage is a big thing. And people just can't admit they self-sabotage. I've admitted more and more that I self-sabotage and I try to get better at it. Like, one thing I self-sabotage is is everything, really. I've been getting better at it, trying not to. Like even now, like I have a bad habit of not taking a shower right now because I work from home. And I tell my family, you guys got to let me know, say, hey, go take a shower. And no one tells me. I don't know if it's because they got used to the funk or what, but I've been consciously making sure I take a shower every day, or at least every other day. And I think that's helping with me not self-sabotaging. Because as soon as I start working from home, I realized, I got to take a shower. And then slowly, I've been working from home since COVID. But slowly over time, I've noticed less and less take a shower. But I always make sure to take a shower before I go anywhere. Then I was like, I got to make a thing, try to take it every day or every other day. And that's what I've been doing and trying to get back my mental fortitude. And one thing that's helped is I got my potassium up and I do feel different. Potassium can affect you mentally. If you have low potassium, it can affect you physically and mentally. And I think that helped getting it back up. So I think I'm starting to get back in control and not self-sabotage as much. Even when I was younger, I self-sabotaged. There's so much I could have probably done when I was younger if I hadn't self-sabotage. But I'm getting there. I'm getting better. Even though I'm almost 50, even now, like doing the podcast, doing all this stuff I do on YouTube. I haven't been doing TikTok lately. I've just given up on TikTok. I can't get the views. So it's like, I'll worry about that later. But yeah, I self-sabotage with the YouTube stuff. I could have been doing this 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I could have been doing YouTube. I should have started when I was 40. And I probably wouldn't have 1 million followers, but I probably have enough to make a little bit of change, And it's just, I wish I had started sooner instead of later. So that's the one thing I would like to encourage. Don't wait. Don't wait. Do it now. Sooner than later. It's better to do it sooner than later. Just don't wait. Do it now. And I wish I'd done it sooner. But yeah, it's just a lot, and I don't know. But along with self-sabotage, another thing that I saw was an article about technology ruining kids, or technology ruining humans, actually. And I wish I kept the link to that. But basically, it came down to that humans have gotten lazier because of technology. And in a lot of ways, I agree with that. In a lot of ways, I don't. Because we still do a lot of things, but we don't do as much things as we used to. Like, you could get a map and just, like, a lot of people can't read a map now. That goes back to the hate that African Americans get from British people. They always say, well, you don't know geography. And my argument to that is, why do I need to? I got Google. I don't need to know geography. And it's like, why do I need geography? I don't need it. So every time I hear that argument, I'm just like, that's a stupid argument. I don't need to know geography. And then you'll have the UK people who are black over there, wherever they come from, they're always so quick to go, you don't know where you came from. It's like, most of our ancestors have been here for over 100 years. We're from America. We're American. Get over it. Now, a lot of them don't claim the UK. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to. But we're American. Because one of the things they always talk about is Jamaica. We're Jamaican. But this guy pointing out is like, no, you're not. Because where are you from? Because you were dropped off in Jamaica, which is true. The Caribbeans, you were dropped off. But back to technology, though, I might talk about that more in the next podcast. But back to technology, yeah, it's like, I don't need to know geography. I got Google. And even if I don't know where I'm at, I can ask someone. It's that simple. Just ask someone, hey, where am I? What country am I in? I just got off the plane. So on and so forth. It's not that hard to figure out. So every time I hear the argument, it's like, just shut up with that. And then the calculator, yeah. The teacher says, you won't always have a calculator. Well, now we do. We always have a calculator. And the only math I really use on a regular is basic math: add, subtract, multiply, divide. I rarely use any of the others. And some people say, "Oh, I use that math all the time." It's like, "Oh yeah, what do you do for a living?" And then you discover they're either a contractor or this or that. They're in a field where they need to do math, And it's like, that's why. I used to be good at math. I could do the formulas. I had the scientific formulas memorized. I could know which one to use. I can't do that anymore. I haven't used it. Use it or lose it. Like I was stating with ZBrush, I haven't used it in a long time, so I lost the knowledge of it. If I had to go use Maya, I couldn't do it. It's like you use it or lose it. And with math, they always talk about, you gotta learn all this, you gotta learn all this. Like, no, you don't. You really don't. You only need the basics for regular life. Unless you're going into a field that requires math, no, you don't. And then you'll have like everyday people saying, yeah, you do, because I use it for this. It's like, really? Those are all things that require math. Of course you're going to use it for that. But in everyday life, no, you're not going to use it. And like one person was like, oh, I built a porch. And I was like, that's awesome. And you measured, you got the calculations, and that's awesome that you were able to do that. I probably would have just hired someone. And it's like, it's awesome you got that talent, that ability. But in everyday life, you still don't need it. You need basic math: add, subtract, multiply, divide. If you can do those, you're going to be pretty okay. But yeah, a lot of things we learn in school we don't need anymore. One of the arguments about learning history is you're doomed to repeat it if you don't know your history. But yet here we are repeating it. We repeat history every day. We haven't learned anything from it. We keep making the same mistakes. I think for America, I think for all the countries to learn, the countries are going to have to collapse. Like we as a planet would have to collapse before anyone realizes, oh, none of this works. We need to find a different way. And even if we collapse, I don't think some people will let go of their hatred, which is a sad part. But as for technology, is technology ruining humans? I think in some ways it is. In others, it's helping us. But yeah, because of like math, we just use the phone. We can even talk to the phone now. Ask the phone to do the calculation. We can ask it for directions. We can ask for recipes and all that stuff. And so in some ways, it has made us lazy. In other ways, it's helped us out a lot. And I always explain to my kids, if I had this technology growing up, all the stuff I would have got into, the stuff I could have created, I probably would have gotten to drawing and animation a lot sooner, actually. But it is what it is. But speaking of technology, there's a new game coming out. I forget the name of it. It's about black people stealing back artifacts and return them to the countries they come from. And I thought, and what's funny is I've thought about writing something about that, like people doing that. That exact same thing, like stealing back all the artifacts and return them to where they belong. And needless to say, the haters are out, the racists are out hating on it. Well, yeah, I definitely think it's an interesting game. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. I haven't bought a game in I don't know how long. But I just thought that was interesting when I heard about the game. I was like, I thought about that so many times. I wish I had written that. And I didn't. And speaking of writing, I went back. I've been trying to write a mystery novel. And I've been working on that for years. Originally, it was going to be a graphic novel and sci-fi based, but then I've changed my mind. It's going to be kind of a straightforward mystery. Well, there'll be some kind of sci-fi element in it, but not like it was originally going to be. And I started rewriting it probably for the third or fourth time, but I just called it Rewrite 2 because I couldn't find the other copies. I think I deleted them. And as it started, I was like 2 or 3 pages in just doing backstory. And as I'm reading over, I'm like, this is so boring. People are going to put the book down after the first page, after the second page, And I went and I shortened it all into 1 page. Yesterday, I just sat there and I looked at all of what I was trying to say and I thought, I'm going to shorten this. Because because a lot of times that's why I don't read books, is there's so much backstory that is unnecessary. You know, they tell me about her little brother, and then throughout the whole story, nothing is related to the little brother. You know, they try to make it seem like, or she meets someone who, I'm just, because there's a recent story I've been listening to, but like, well, I shouldn't say listen to, someone's been talking about, but the whole point is like, the little brother served no purpose. It didn't like explain her character. It didn't explain how she acts around other people. You know, it didn't like make it seem like she's being a big sister, because she's not. It's just like, it was all pointless. It was pointless backstory. And that's a common theme in a lot of books. And where they just give pointless backstories. Like even with Reddit stories, you'll have people give them backstory. First, I'm giving you backstory, and it's like this long, drawn out backstory that was 100% unnecessary. Like there was I'm trying to think of a Reddit story recently where the guy gave this backstory how he met his wife, which had nothing to do with why she cheated on him. It absolutely had nothing to do with why she cheated on him. And first things in the comment, this is AI, which I was the same way. This is so fake. No one's going to get online and write a tell-all in Reddit. I mean, that's just stupid. If someone's actually doing it, you're an idiot. But yeah, it's just like, what is this crap? I don't need all this backstory. And that's why I haven't done it in a while. I need to go back and I was doing Reddit stuff, or I'm still doing Reddit stuff. I need to go find some writing prompts and read some of the stories, because I would do the stories and give my opinion on the stories. I haven't done it in a while, so I want to find some writing prompts and some short ones. So I'll do some like 10-minute ones and go over the story and just kind of give my opinion. Because so many times we give backstories to characters and we don't need to. Especially if the character's not part of the story. You know, you can introduce a character and you don't have to give them backstory. You don't have to give a reason why this character's the way they are. Just introduce the character. If they're going to be part of the story throughout, okay, give them backstory. If the character's going to be in the next book, maybe kind of give them. You still don't have to actually give them. It's like if you're doing more than one book, you still don't have to actually give them a backstory. Not yet. You can make that part of the second book, or give them a touch of a backstory. You know, and let that be part of the second book if they're a main character in the second one. But even then, if they're not a main character and they're just a filler character you're using to move the story along, you don't really have to give a backstory to a character. And I think that's one thing that's never really made me want to read books, is that I start reading books and I get all this backstory and then I'm lost in the story. It's like, what was all that for? It's rare that I haven't read a book in a long time. And I recently saw something where people were talking about when's the last time you read a book, and there's a lot of us who just don't read books. And I think it's because also in school you get it crammed down your throat to read a book, and it just didn't make me want to read. And so many times I would get books that were just boring. I tried to pick out a book. Yeah, it was a Don't Judge a Book by its cover, but that's how you kind of pick a book. But anyways, is technology dumbing us down? Yes. It's not the only thing dumbing us down. But yeah, overall it is dumbing us down. Cause I think about Star Trek. If Star Trek people were in today's society, they probably couldn't function in a lot of ways. Well, anyways, I'm going to end it here. Oh, I did want to say, I noticed some people are really actually starting to look at my podcast. So, hey, thanks for looking at it. But the next one, I'm going to try to find a subject to talk about and then go on from there. Maybe we'll talk about writing. I'll figure something out. Oh, there was a relationship stuff I want to talk about. I'll talk about that in the next one. All right, everyone. Take care. Wait, that's not how I end it. Oh my God, I forgot how I end my podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Everyone take care. Later.